everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Investors Marketing Show, where we help real estate entrepreneurs and investors, of course, to gain more leads, stronger relationships, and more deals through the power of online marketing. I'm Lindsay Phillips, your content coach and expert on all things content marketing for entrepreneurs and real estate investors. And of course, I have my awesome co-host, Aaron, here.
That would be me. I'm Aaron Hughes, a real estate investor and the world's only exclusive real estate investing copywriter.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about niching down to attract more prospects today. And there's a lot of myths I find, and me included, when it came to niching down.
You are a myth. Just specifically.
Yes. I'm a unicorn.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. But I remember like years ago, I think before I started working with you, I had the VA business, and I just took on anything because I wanted business. But then I wanted to niche down just to content marketing, and I was scared to death. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to, just my pool of prospects is going to be smaller, and I'm going to have less business, and I'm not going to have enough prospects. And it scared, just saying no to business scared the crap out of me. But man, was I wrong. But a lot of people think that, right?
That's exactly my, that's exactly my story too. I was a sort of a general copywriter
right.
in 94 and then again in 2004. And for a few years, I was just writing for anyone. And then I just realized, who do I like writing for the most and where do I have experience and that kind of thing. And it was real estate investors. And I agonized over the decision for a long time. And then I'm like, well, at some point I had... I had a really long contract with a client. So I was like, well, I've got nothing to lose in the real estate investing side. I'm just going to try it. And so I did. And, I focused on that. And the phone started ringing right away with some of the, the best known real estate investors, the names everyone has heard of. And they're like, oh, we're so glad there's a real estate investing copywriter. I was like, oh, maybe I didn't need to agonize quite so long.
I know, right?
Over that decision. Anyway, it totally changed how I thought of niching, and since then, it's become something that I help my clients do.
Yeah.
My real estate investing clients, help them niche down, and I have never, ever been disappointed by it.
Agreed.
But what's funny is everyone I talked to had the same response that you and I have. Like, I'd be limiting my pool of prospects.
Totally. Saying no to jobs? What's that?
To everyone. Real estate investors who are like, why would I niche down the number of buyers? I want to get as many buyers as I can, or as many sellers. No, actually, you'll probably do better by niching down on buyers and sellers.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And the same thing happened to me. As soon as I made that decision and I revamped my website, I just got this massive flood of clients, within the span of 6 weeks. I was like, holy crap. I didn't even know what to do with myself. And then once I focused my content and stuff like that, it's it just naturally builds up your authority platform, your expert status. So now, Aaron, you are a real estate investor copywriter. People want writing, whether it's books, landing pages, ebooks, whatever. They know you're the dude to go to.
I am the dude.
You are.
True. Yeah.
You're the bee's knees.
Thank you so much. And what's true for us is true for real estate investors too. I mean, I see it all the time. Investors think that they need to broaden out, but the challenge why it doesn't work is because you can't say everything to everybody, and you don't end up hitting the pain points that one specific group needs to hear when you're trying to hit the pain points that every group, you think every group needs to hear. It's just not as effective.
No, you don't resonate and you don't connect with them, and therefore they're not going to say yes. So it actually kind of hurts you. And really, in the real estate sphere, I've also seen some real estate investors, and they do fix and flip. They do multifamily. They do so many different things and I've helped a couple where it's okay, but how are we going to dial in your avatar and your message, especially on your homepage, and what kind of videos you do? You're going to weed out so many people, and it's going to be a mixed message. And if people are confused and they don't feel that you are the right person to go to, it just like muddies the water. And we know a ton of investors, like Jay Massey does Airbnb or whatever you want to call them. Scott Carson is focused on note investing. Same with Paige Panzarello, and they are the go-to experts on those things. And so they land podcast interviews. They land amazing speaking gigs because they are considered the expert in that one thing. So you're actually leveling up your expertise and even your ability to charge people for things. You can rate, if you're like the go-to expert, you can raise your rates.
Yeah, that's true. I have a client who he just specializes in helping like seniors to sell their house because they're moving into retirement home. So what it means is he's built up great connections and great relationships with like seniors, like people who run a seniors aid place, with or great connections with like moving companies or with contractors who might go in and fix up like a house that's hasn't been updated since the 70s kind of thing. And because of that, he's seen as an expert, and he's got like homeowners and often their children when they're older, they've got adult children who are helping them make decisions. And so he's got owners and adult children looking to him for guidance because he's very obviously the expert in the topic.
Absolutely. And they feel more comfortable and trust him right off the bat because he knows exactly what they need and he can get it done right. Do you know what I mean? It's a win-win for both. And it's easier, when you do like Facebook ads, or if you're going that route, or direct mail, or it's just easier to like hit the mark and get people to say yes when the message is right.
And for a lot of investors, and the investing world is very entrepreneurial, so I see lots of investors who are very tempted by, this is a big opportunity right now, or this is a shiny object I can chase after. But really, when you focus in and you become an expert on just one area or one or two areas, it's lazy. It's the lazy way to making more money, because you don't need to be an expert in 1,000 things, right? You're just an expert in one thing, and you just deepen that expertise, and soon you can outpace people, who are trying to jump from one to another to another to another. You focus all your effort, all your own, financial and time investment on learning this one thing, and you'll outpace people who are spread too thin.
Agreed. And I feel like as a business owner, it actually opens more doors for opportunities.
Yeah.
And same with like if you write a book, right, that is about your specific niche, versus, how to get into real estate investing, where if it's very specific, more people are going to want to read that because it's a specific problem that you're solving.
Yeah. You reminded me of a story here that of when we niched down for a client. So he was in a really competitive market, and everyone was all these investors were kind of like, there's all these newbies who were all diving into real estate investing world. They're all just blasting the market with the same postcards, and so that means every prospective seller is getting a mailbox full of the exact same postcards that are like, buy my house now. And so we looked at, and this actually is going to answer something that you and I were going to talk about very shortly here. We looked at who were his very best deals. Who did he love doing deals with? Who did the deals the fastest? The ones that turned out to be most profitable for him. The ones he really liked serving. And it was it turned out to be like basically moms whose adult children, like usually like single women in maybe their like 50s, potentially early 60s, whose adult children lived in another home that they owned. And like the mom owned 2 homes, and their adult children were basically freeloading in this other home. They weren't paying rent. They weren't taking care of it. And so the moms are in a real, they're kind of stuck because, of course, no mom wants to kick their kid out in the street, but they have to do it because they're like, the kids are basically bleeding them dry. They're going broke, and it'll just cause a whole bunch of problems in the family if the mom goes in and says to their kid, get out of the house. And so this seller, his best deals are the ones where he would go in and buy that house and remove the kids, and of course it saved the moms from having to have the awkward conversation. She's just like, well, the house sold. So, anyway, so, and then it didn't make her the bad guy. It allowed this
Yeah.
investor to be the bad guy, saved the family, kind of kept that the parent-child relationship, but solved the mom's problem. And it was great because no one else was doing that. So all of a sudden, a postcard was landing in inboxes, and sure, some inboxes it would land in, and it didn't resonate with them, but it would resonate with the single moms whose kids are
Totally.
basically freeloading. It really resonated well. So yeah, that was a great.
And that I loved your point about where you kind of look at who your best client is and what the best scenarios like, and figure out what their problem is, who they are. Because I mean, some clients are easier than others. Some you make more off of than others, or deals or whatever. Find the one that's like your sweet spot and find a way to replicate that, which is exactly what you would do if you niche down.
Yeah, it's so good. And that's a really good point, Lindsay, that you might not always do the most profitable, but you'll do the one you like working with the most, and maybe those end up being the same.
Totally. And you're setting yourself apart. We're helping out an investor, and he does multifamily properties. But he is actually still a pilot. But so his avatar, he is targeting other pilots or other people in that industry because they were just like him when he was younger, and didn't get any more 401ks, or had this money but didn't know what to do with it, and didn't have time to deal with it because he's out in the air all the time. And so with that being his perfect avatar, that is super niching down, but it'll be so much easier for him to attract the right person. It was so much fun to do. It was so much fun to work with.
And then that's a great example, because I think investors who don't niche down, they're trying to find cash buyers. Well, where do they look? They're going to go advertise on Facebook or on YouTube or whatever. Now, this guy with pilots, he could go get an ad in a pilot magazine.
Totally.
Or he could go to a pilot Facebook group and chat people up in there. And that's not something that other investors can necessarily do if they don't niche down. This guy's got an inside scoop on a whole bunch of people who aren't hearing that message over and over again.
Yeah. And it's people like him, and he's naturally going to build those relationships quickly with them because he's exactly was in their shoes, and he made the investing work and got the ROI. And of course, hey, I can help you do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And partner with deals and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to do. And it's funny, he didn't even want to talk about him being a pilot. He wanted to leave that to the side and not even bring it to surface. And I'm like, no. You need to capitalize on it. That's your story. That's your journey. That's your avatar. Don't push that to the side. I'm like, embrace it. I'm like, this is the best.
That's great. Great advice. That's really good. Yeah, I've got a client who, he's like ex-military, and we're like, we should do something with this. Like, this is, he's got this great story of being in the Marines, and then kind of like leaving the military and going on to become an investor. Like,
totally
share your story. People will buy your story because it's inspiring.
Absolutely. And connect with people. Yeah. And that's just not just niching down with the type of real estate investing that you do or your service, but you're niching down in regards to who you're attracting and who your avatar is. So there's different ways to niche down.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you, was why don't we think of a few ways that people can niche down? So you've mentioned a couple so far. So the type of deal that they do, right?
Yeah.
Could be multifamily, could be notes. There is the type of client that they're going after.
Yeah.
Like I've said, single moms with adult children.
Yeah, totally.
Or,
that is niche.
Or pilots, I think, in the case that you gave as an example. I think geographically as well. Like
True,
I do deals up in Canada. I mean, I live in Canada, and I do deals in the U.S. And in Canada. But there aren't a lot of investors who are working, like a lot of U.S.-based investors working in Canada or working with Canadians. There are a couple, but not a lot. And I think there's a huge opportunity there.
That's huge. And then because Billy Keels is in Spain, and he helps investors do long distance, and that's different.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then also there's what services or your solution, right? Some people might have a piece of software that's going to help you do XYZ faster. Some people are going to have a coaching service. Some people are going to have courses that do something, or, you know what I mean? Just how you're helping them and the service or the product that you have. Some things can be, very specific. I mean, like think of like there's the Rentometer, which I'm sure is a guy that's been in investing and he created that software. I forget what the hell it is. Appfolio. Like there's all those different kinds of little softwares. But really it was someone that was investing and felt there was a need for something and grew that. So there's totally different ways of narrowing your focus.
Yeah, and then it just becomes a matter of communicating that. So instead of a bandit sign, like every other bandit sign that says "We buy houses," now you're doing like, I don't know, we buy. Well, you've probably seen like we buy drug houses or something. Like that's definitely a niche. But you could do something like that. Like I think there's an opportunity for people to work with like people getting divorced or whatever.
Yes.
We buy divorce houses.
Yep. Situations.
Huge opportunity there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, I think we have niched down our topic of niching and exhausted all pieces. But yeah, it's every time I talk about niching, I just get so excited because there's so much potential and different ways you can do it. I just love it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, me too.
Alrighty, peeps, that's a wrap for the Real Estate Investors Marketing Show today. Thank you for listening, and congrats on taking steps to market your investing business. And so, whether it is you're wholesaling or flipping or note investing or whatever, we understand, what you're doing and where you're at and your marketing strategies and how you'll reach your goals. One of the ways that we can help you is by inviting you to the Real Estate Investors Marketing Group in Facebook. Of course, we share strategies, tools, and tips to grow your authority, build relationships, and market your real estate investing business. So make sure you go to reimarketinggroup.com and hit join, and then we'll share some tips with you and say hi.
Awesome. Looking forward to seeing you there.
Alrighty. Have a great one, Aaron. See you guys.
See ya. You too, Lindsay. Bye.